in 1854 and installed its first police marshal, George W. Renwick. Over the years, the title of the head law enforcement officer changed from marshal to chief. And although the role has expanded, one duty has remained consistent: to ensure law and order for the citizens of Elgin.
It's time now for Fridays with the Finest, featuring Elgin's current police chief, Anna Lalley, on Elgin's hometown radio station since 1949, WRMN AM 1410 and 96.7 FM.
Yes, it is Friday morning, and it is time for Fridays with the Finest as we move to the next phase of our programming here at WRMN, the day before Nightmare on Chicago Street. So a lot going on outside, inside, and with our police chief leading the way on a Friday morning. We got two chiefs in the house today.
Yes.
That's the good news. You know what the bad news is?
What's that?
Chief Anna Lalley from the Elgin Police Department.
Oh, here we go.
The bad news is, reminds me of COVID. Isn't that when you brought Chief Rob Sagan?
Me and Rob were here.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Every now and then you'll see us together, right? We actually like each other.
Yes.
So
Right.
some places, the police and fire, they fight with each other. The
That's
chiefs
true.
don't care for each other. I actually like Rob. I think he's a nice guy. Now,
Yeah.
not appropriate for radio.
Not
appropriate for radio, but we'll just leave it at that. No, but in all seriousness, we obviously have a big event coming up, Nightmare on Chicago Street. Chief Sagan is here with me this morning from the fire perspective, emergency management planning, and then I have Sergeant Miriam Duffy with me, who, she runs our special events. Now, when I say she runs the special events, based on a comment that Larry made to me when we were walking through, Miriam is the person the day-to-day doing all the managing, planning, meetings, and then there's a layer of a commander who gets involved, and then there's obviously a deputy chief and a chief, but Miriam is really kind of doing a lot of the work. So it's appropriate to bring the people who, actually do the real work and say thank you to them publicly, because it's a lot. And that's why she's here today. So obviously it's a team effort, but Miriam's here to, just kind of give a perspective in terms of the planning, what we've been doing. And then, we want to just make sure we're getting the right information out to the public, answer any questions, talk about the event, what to expect, what not to do in terms of bringing items in. So that's why we're all here today, just to kind of answer any questions. Anyone can call in if they want.
Yeah.
More than happy to take questions. But yeah, so I guess, we'll start a little bit with, because I want to just talk everything Nightmare today and planning and things like that. So Miriam, do you want to just kind of give an overview of the event, time, what's happening, and then we'll get into Rob from your stuff.
Absolutely. Good morning. So this is the Nightmare on Chicago Street. Obviously, we take quite some time to plan for the event. I think we started plans even last year for this event, and it's been an annual event. We look and expect that maybe about 15,000 people to attend. It's a very popular event for the Halloween season here, and it's all in the downtown area. So a lot of the road closures have already begun, as all the setup has begun several days ago already. We shut down, basically, even though it's named on Chicago Street, that's the main focus, but it does extend further streets around this area, like on Division, Grove, Spring, all the way down to Riverside, and down basically Fulton Street, right in that general area. So there's a lot of props, a lot of activities. There's 3 stages that are set up, major stages, and then there's 4 gates for people to come in through. So it's, like I said, it's a very large event, very fun event. It is geared towards a mature audience. So even though anybody under 17 is allowed there to be with a parent or an adult at the whole time of the event. So that's, a very general basic, but like I said, it's all like Halloween based and geared.
Yep.
Yeah, and so I noticed the street closures this morning on the Elgin Police Department Facebook page. They seem to be happening earlier and maybe more street closures than in years past. Is that accurate? It seemed no, it's not. Chief Sagan's shaking his head at me that that's not true.
We haven't changed anything since the last 2 years.
I think you're probably seeing like it, because I noticed when I drove to work today, normally I come down Douglas, right? So obviously I went the other way, but I think the past couple of years has been like this because there's more props, there's more stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in terms of also, entry, so the event there is early entry at 5. So do you want to talk a little bit about what people should not bring when you are in line and what they can expect from the Elgin Police Department in terms of what our response will be?
Yes, absolutely. So There is the general admission is from 6 and it goes all the way to 11 o'clock. However, there's the early, so you can pay for the early access and early entry, so you can come in at 5 o'clock. So with that, there is a security check. So we have, the city has hired security guards to assist with that. There'll be a security check they'll be going through. And with that, there will be absolutely no weapons allowed into the area, as well as any props that are weapon-like props. So those will not be allowed. We ask that you either leave those at home, don't bring them in. We don't have a way to secure them for you. So should you bring them to the gate, they will be taken from you or ask that you take them back. Like I said, there's definitely no guarantee that you'd be getting those back, as we won't be securing them in any place for that.
And just so everybody knows, it's not a negotiation. So that's the other thing I want to say, because I've been at this event, I think 10 years, 11 years, and I've worked all various parts of it when I was, a commander, when I was, the chief. And I will tell you, it's not a negotiation. So if the officer says that prop looks like a weapon and we need to take that prop, you need to go to your car, you need to throw it in the garbage, do whatever. That's what it is. Okay. And I want to say that because I've seen in the past, well, this is just supposed to be I don't know what, but to the general public, if you come in there and they see that, right, this is a safe event. We want everyone to feel comfortable. And that starts with, not bringing props in, that we're not negotiating. If the officer says this is what it is, that's what it is. And if you have an issue, then you can contact the chief of police, and I'll be more than happy to talk to you.
We don't have time for 5,000 negotiations?
We don't. I'm all for negotiation on various things. Not tomorrow, please. Not tomorrow. Yeah, we're not doing that. So, Rob, talk a little bit about, from your perspective, the fire department, emergency management, planning, things like that.
Sure. So this is an event that does require a lot of coordination between police and fire. And so as much as Anna gave Miriam credit, I have to do the same thing, because from an emergency management standpoint, though that falls under the fire department, this is not a fire department event per se. This is really a city emergency management event, which is where it brings Anna and I together as the department heads, but also all of our people at the different levels in our organization, like Anna explained, to come together and do all this. And Miriam has done so much of the work in terms of coordinating between police, fire, community events to make sure that our collective response is appropriate. So we are going to be having a joint command center with police and fire together all the time. And, we joke a little bit about how Anna and I get along, but that is very true what Anna said, that doesn't always happen in every police department and fire department. So to be able to have the relationship that our two organizations have, not only from the very top of the organizations, but also through the organizations where we have our fire that we talked about the other day, the police officers that were there and the work that they did to help us on our fire scene was tremendous. So we have that relationship all the way through the ranks, which helps tremendously when you have a major event like this that has so many different facets to it, to allow us to both worry about, I worry about the fire and the EMS side of it. Anna and her people worry about the law enforcement side, but if something were to happen, even if we had an accidental fire in one of the buildings, that's going to require police involvement. And so being able to have our joint operations center together is tremendous.
And this is the first year you'll see the City of Elgin Command Post. So normally we usually have the Cagann County Emergency Management. We want to also, thank a lot of our partners that are helping us out too. So, from the law enforcement side, we have a lot of different agencies coming to help. Former Deputy Chief Colin Fleury is, giving me a piece of armor, and I think he's sending a couple people from their regional SWAT team. So these relationships that we have, Colin knows, because he was sitting here as a deputy chief with me planning, and he knows, kind of the magnitude of what we have to, think about. Because the question always comes up, do we plan? Do we think? Do we look at national events? Yes, yes, and yes. And it's an ongoing conversation. Yeah. It happens monthly. When we get a little bit closer to the event, Miriam's meeting with the command staff and with me just in terms of like, where are we at with this? What are we doing with this? And that's not, that's meant to just, more people that you have looking at something and more perspective. We don't want to get into our silos, right? So sitting with the fire department and having their perspective in terms of, okay, if we put a piece of armor in this intersection here, how is that going to affect if you need to get an ambulance or an engine through, right? So not operating in these silos where, you mind your business here, Rob. Generally, we mind our business. You do the fire stuff, I'll do the police stuff, and we will get along just fine. This is very different. So, Miriam, talk a little bit about, how many, I guess, other people, we're not going to reveal, obviously, our security plan. We don't do that. But how many organizations are helping and assisting us in terms of outside agencies and some of the resources too that they help to provide.
Goodness, I don't think I broke it down, but we do have a lot of neighboring agencies that are working together with some of the groups like ILEAS and teams that we work together with. I would say there's probably at least 10 different, at least in the law enforcement side of it. Obviously, there's the different divisions throughout the city work with different groups, but I would say probably at least 10 different ones within the police department. So, yeah, our goal is like you mentioned, Chief, is to make sure and ensure everyone's safety and well-being. We want everybody to have a great time, a safe, great time, and be able to go home at the end of the night safely. So we do have different personnel throughout the whole event. From different angles, including drones. So there's like drones that will be flying to be another set of eyes for us, basically up in the sky there shortly. But like I said, I would say about 10 different agencies that are helping us out.
Is this the second year that we've been able to use drones?
Yes.
Second year.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that was.
It seems like that could be a major help to be able to use drones.
Oh yeah, and as much as you think that organizations have, the ability to tap into drones, the equipment costs a lot of money. So a lot of agencies, we're very fortunate. Our council supports our purchases. I've never asked for a piece of equipment and been told no. You have to justify why you need it, and especially with an event where you have over or expected 15,000 people in one condensed area. There's a lot of moving parts to it. So having drones and people seeing that and understanding that we are taking into consideration all the security concerns that people see. This happened after Highland Park, right, with the 4th of July, and that's where the legislation starts moving because people say you need to do something. We agree, right? We're put in this little box in terms of what we can do with drones. Fire department can fly drones anytime they want, whenever they want, because they're not tied to the Drone Surveillance Act that the law enforcement community is. So that's a huge benefit to us, and really being able to expand our footprint in terms of security. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I was talking before the show with my partner, your friend Larry Jones.
My best friend Larry Jones.
Your best friend Larry Jones.
I know you're jealous, but
I am.
I like him. I don't know what to say,
I should have never.
Not that I don't like you, but Larry's just, I don't know.
I should have never let you two become friends.
I know. You denied our friendship.
Yeah.
Yes.
But no, Larry was saying, because I mentioned from a security standpoint, this has to be the hardest day of the year in a way, or the biggest event of the year that requires so much in terms of tactical security and things of that for the Elgin Police Department.
I think it's one of them.
This and the parade,
events.
maybe.
Yes, it's one of them.
But so, and Larry was like, when I heard, he goes, I admit, when I heard that Elgin was going to have a nightmare on Chicago Street and the whole concept of it years ago, he said, that's trouble waiting to happen. I mean, there's just too many factors. There's a lot of factors. There's nighttime, costumes, alcohol, all mixed together amongst several streets and thousands of people. So you really have to be well prepared to be able to handle anything that could possibly go wrong.
Yeah, and I think the key to it, too, is the preparation that we take in terms of meetings, planning, Miriam's meetings. This has consumed Miriam's life probably for, I don't even want to ask her.
I'm having dreams about it.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's consuming her life. So I think, but we're professionals, and this is, we can't anticipate, we can't foresee the future, right? If we could, none of us would be sitting here right now. We'd all be billionaires. But we do our best to ensure that we're, taking a critical look at things from last year. What can we do to improve? If there's, when we have these planning meetings and we say, hey, why are we putting this here? Why don't we do this? It's not coming from a critical lens. It's coming from, it is critical, but it's not, a personal thing. We all need to ensure that we're doing the best we can and making sure that, everyone's perspective is being heard. So, Rob, talk a little bit about, things that people should know in terms of the firefighters, if there's an emergency, what's the response, things like that,
Sure.
so the public knows.
So the fire department's going to have approximately 10 paramedics throughout the event. We are going to have a first aid tent on Spring Street, and that is open to anybody. So if anything happens, a fall, a cut, a sprain, you can come to if you can make it to the first aid tent, that's great. But we do have different roving teams around of paramedics who are able to provide treatment immediately on the scene. And then we also have a vehicle that's going to be able to, if necessary, we could transport somebody who couldn't walk out of the event. Unfortunately, there's so many people here. it's very hard to maneuver once this is really going, gets to 7, 8 o'clock at night. It's a challenging operation for both police and fire to navigate through should something occur. So if there are any issues, though, that if you can find, if you're at the event and you have an issue of a medical emergency or even you need to talk to a police officer, if you can just find anybody from the event staff, there's a lot, there'll be a lot of firemen, policemen walking around. You're going to have some people in uniform, I believe, correct?
Yep.
And so find anybody who you can who works for the city and they have a radio with them. They can make their way to the command post by radio, and then we can get them the assistance they need.
Yep. Miriam, what are we missing here in terms of what are some things that we want to make sure that people know from the police side?
I would say basically patience is what everybody needs. Patience is that, especially with the road closures, like you mentioned earlier, even though it appears like it's affecting a little bit more downtown area. So if you were to look out the window right now, you'll see all the workers. We see people going in, back and forth, setting things up. So we ask for people's patience with that. And that also goes at the end of the event. So even though the event closes, it's over at 11, and everybody likes to kind of hang out a little bit. But to ensure even the workers' safety and everyone else, and to get the roads opened up again, we ask kind of people start heading back home, or leaving the event once it's actually closed. And that helps with everyone's safety along the way as well.
And I'm glad you brought that up because, you can put on the camera there what's happening here. So you're getting a front seat here to everything, aren't you? Yeah.
Guys unloading the truck right now.
So I'm glad Miriam mentioned that because so at the end of the evening, so this is the 11th year, I think, right?
I believe
Is it
so,
11th
yes.
year? So I've been at all of these events. I think I missed one where I just stopped in for the briefing and then I had to catch a flight somewhere. So at the end of the night, what people do, and again, this is why we're saying this now, right? When I say there's no negotiation for props, I mean that. Okay. Here's the other thing.
Did you get that, listeners?
Yes, and I say that only because I'm not. I'm just
Not in the mood to mess around with
not
this.
tomorrow. Nobody is, right? So, and we mean that in a very friendly, nice, professional way, right? But because the other thing is, at the end of the night, what people will do is 11 o'clock, the event's done. The lights are going to go on, right? So it becomes this almost like at the end of the night at a bar where everyone turns and everyone's like, "Oh my God!" Right?
Yeah.
So you go. But so that will happen. And what people will do is they'll take their time and they'll kind of just linger a little bit, right? And what's happening at that point is that, the workers that have been there for almost 15, 16, 17 hours, they need to start putting their stuff together. Trucks need to move. Police officers need to start clearing the streets. There's a lot of after action things that need to happen in that time frame. So, if you want to hang out, the bars are open downtown. There's a lot of establishments. I think there's an after event I just saw it in the paper. God, is it, there's an after event at some business. I can't remember, but if you want to look but there's a lot of opportunities for people to go and enjoy the Elgin downtown and the businesses and continue the fun throughout the night while the people are working, right? It's a very taxing day for both police and fire and city staff. Amanda Harris has been in charge of this event too, from the special events from the city. I want to thank her and her group for their assistance and their help and all of their work. This event was started by Barb Koselica, if anyone knows Barb. So it's kind of like when Barb. I remember the first couple of years and planning, and it's so different now because there's just so much that has expanded. So at the end of the night, when the officers are telling you, "Have a good night." Throw your beer away, have a good night, throw your beer away. That really means have a good night, throw your beer away. So, please kind of allow us the space to do what we need to do. The officers are working very, very long. Firefighters are working very long hours. It's very taxing. So let us, be able to do our job, while people can still go enjoy themselves.
So at 11 o'clock, the event is over.
That's it.
The bars and the restaurants
Are open.
Stay open.
Yes.
But you can't just hang out on the streets drinking.
No.
That's
what I'm saying.
You can stay in downtown Elgin,
Yes.
but you can't linger
Yes,
around.
you can't because there's a
Gotcha.
lot of things that are happening, and I have seen it. I will tell you, over the past couple of years, it's gotten a lot better because I think the lights have gotten a lot brighter, and people are like, "Oh yeah, no, this is not for me." But you do still kind of see that a little bit, and when it's 11 o'clock and the event ends, and we're now at 11:45, and people are still. That's not good, right? So the officers will be giving directives to say, "You guys need to leave. Have a good evening." They're not doing it to be, because they want to ruin your fun. They're doing it because it's a safety issue. We need to ensure that we're, doing the things that we need to do.
And that's non-negotiable too.
That is not
5 more minutes. I'm almost finished.
That is non-negotiable. And I'm saying this to be very, we talk about it every year, right? These are the things that are non-negotiable. Now, whether or not people choose to listen to this radio show is another thing. But
that should be non-negotiable,
right?
too.
But I'm at least saying it so that people know, because you see it a lot at the gates, right? Where it's this negotiation about, well, this is just it's my costume and it makes my costume. It's like, we appreciate your costume. You took a lot of time, but you got to think. Our perspective, it's a safety thing.
Yeah.
So, all right, Rob, we have we have about 9 minutes left. Anything else that we want to talk about from planning, emergency management, fire?
No, I think we've covered a lot of the information. I think the big part is that we do have a lot covered, whether it's from the law enforcement side or from the fire and EMS side. So it's we make the event a safe event and want everybody to enjoy themselves. But like Anna and Miriam have talked about is there are some things that just can't happen. And so we do have a lot of people around within the event. And we are, to your point earlier, is there's always questions of, are we prepared? Have we planned? And I don't know how there could be any more planning that's been done between our two agencies and the community events people and Amanda Harris. I just don't know how we could plan any more. Yeah. So I think it's going to be a great event. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. The weather's going to be very cooperative. Yeah. So I think we're going to probably see a lot of people.
What's the 70 still? Is that what we're
during the day at least? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
70s.
So tomorrow night, probably around in the 50s?
Yeah.
Around 55, 60 degrees maybe?
No rain, no snow.
It's not going to snow like the one year it was snowing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was not good. But just a couple things too, and I'll hit on some reminders just for parking and stuff like that. Miriam, do you have anything that I don't want to cut you off?
Well, I do, along with like parking, like you mentioned. We do encourage people to do like ride share. Try to, especially if there's going to be drinking involved. Obviously, we want people to be safe and not drive after the event if they've been drinking. But however, there's additional parking. All the downtown area does fill up fairly quickly, actually very quickly.
Because there's not a whole because so many blocks are closed off.
Correct.
Your parking lots to park in are limited, right?
Well, the parking decks are accessible.
Yeah.
So they'll be able to get to them. But just with the amount of people that will be coming to the event, it fills up very quickly.
Yeah.
So that being said, Larkin High and Elgin High are both open. So you can park there. There'll be shuttles that will bring you down to the downtown area. So, and same way at the end of the event, the shuttles will take you back to that same parking. So there's that. But like I said, I definitely encourage, either riding with someone if you're going to come downtown and just being safe in terms of driving. So that would probably be one of the major things I would recommend.
We have one phone call. Sorry.
Sure.
No, go ahead.
It's 8479-311410 if you have any questions for the Chiefs or Miriam this morning. And Thomas is on the line. Good morning, Thomas.
Good morning. Just got a question. How do you know if somebody has a concealed weapon on them walking in?
Okay. So, again, there are no weapons allowed at the event, and so there's security guards there's metal detectors at the entrances to all the events. So that's how they would be able to determine whether or not a person has a weapon. You have to go through a security check at the entrances.
Excellent.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you for your question.
Thanks, Thomas.
Thank you. Yeah, so that's a good reminder, too. There's security checks. So there's 4 gates to enter. So there's 4 entrances. Highland and Grove, Highland and Douglas, Spring and Highland, and Grove and Fulton. So those are the entrance points. You will see private security there doing security checks. You will see officers there as well. Again, no weapons allowed in, no prop weapons. There's also a bag. If you're going to bring a bag in, it has to be a certain size, which is a small bag. It's 10 by 6 by 2. Strollers are not allowed in the event either. Along with animals, except for service animals or guide animals. So, and then again, do not bring a bunch of bags in because they're just going to say you need to get rid of your bag. So whether you choose to, it's like going to a
ball
major
game.
sporting. Oh yeah, like I was at I think it was a baseball game. I can't remember, but the person I was with had a bag, and you thought that it might fit because it was like kind of one of those sling bags, and it was a little bit too big, and they're like in the garbage. Either in the garbage or walk to your car. And then, you're downtown Chicago. You're not going to go walk to your car. So in the garbage. So if you value your bag, right?
You might not want to even mess with it.
Don't even mess with
We're
it.
not going to have those airport things where you can try to squeeze a big bag
No,
into
we're
it.
not doing that. None of that. That is non-negotiable. So, but yes. So we are encouraging people to use free parking, like Miriam said. The shuttles are from Larkin and Elgin. Service starting at 4:30 that runs to 12:30. Service every 15 to 20 minutes. That's a great way, especially if you, plan on drinking and you want to be safe. That's a great way. Rideshare programs, Uber, Lyft, all that. They can pick you up at the post office. That's going to be the point of contact. And then if you leave the event, there is no re-entry. So that's the other non-negotiable, right? So this is not, I'm going to go leave, because I need to, hey, officer, can you, hold the line for me? Or can you, the answer is no. So the officer is not there to, there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of people going on. So we will accommodate and assist as best as we can, but we can't have people coming in and out and saying, remember me? Look at my costume. Remember me?
Yeah.
Let me back in 15 minutes, right? We can't do that. As much as we want to do that, we can't do that.
We have one more phone call, 847-931-1410. The commander of the American Legion is on the line, Mark Smith. Hey, Mark.
Hey, good morning, everybody. How are you?
Good morning.
Hey, I just wanted to say good luck on Nightmare. I'm going to be a first-time participant tomorrow night, but as somebody who deals with a lot of NSSEs and special events throughout the country, interested and I'm going to be seeing how the plan's laid out, but it's going to be good. But I also wanted to give a shout-out and kudos to Miriam. I know she always helps us with an annual event we have here at the Legion. She's just always a professional, able to put all the pieces of the puzzle together, and just great work. And tell her not to forget to share the certificate of appreciation that the Legion gave to her as well. Check that out.
Oh, she didn't tell me about that. All right. Now I got info.
Yeah, get that in the file.
I will.
That's important. That's important stuff. But also with parking, Simmons Madison's going to be having parking at their place, charity parking, $20 a car. And all the money collected is going to be donated back to the American Legion. And Dan Simmons, his catch line says, "Your car will rest in peace while you're at the Nightmare."
I like that.
Clever, very clever.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. So, hey, good luck. I look forward to seeing everybody. I may be walking around as the Pope, so if you need a special blessing or maybe even a confession, just track me down.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, thank you.
See you tomorrow night.
All right. Well,
All right,
yes.
Bye.
Congratulations, Miriam. I got to ask you about that. So, that's the other thing, too. Like, it's important that, the special events job in the police department, it's busy. It's a lot. And, the behind the scenes stuff that gets done, it's good every now and then that she reluctantly, when I say, Miriam, will you come on the radio show with me? She'll always say yes, right? Because I know she will. But she's a true professional, does a great job, and it's a great opportunity for people to see people behind the scenes, right, who actually do some of the work and the planning. So, a couple minutes left. Any last words? Any hellos? Anything like that? I think we have again, starts at 5, early admission, 6 to 11. That means 11. That's not. Yeah. That means 11, my friends. All right. I will be out there tomorrow. Rob will be there. Miriam, of course, will be there. You'll see the entire command staff there. A lot of officers. I want to thank the officers in advance. It's a long day, hard work. Our SWAT team will be out there, a lot of different agencies. So the other thing, too, is, we have a lot of people that come up and want to take pictures with the officers, too, at the event, so,
Yeah.
And we encourage that, they're very used to it. That's a great way for our community engagement, again, and to build some of these relationships in a positive way, while we continue to keep people safe and so that they have a great evening and be able to enjoy themselves. So any last shout outs, hellos, thank you?
We have a shout out on YouTube from Commander Lencioni.
Oh, okay.
She says, Sergeant Duffy, thank you for all your hard work on this and all the COE special events this year.
Yeah.
Thank you.
From Heather checking in. And so in all the street closings and all that we've been rattling off here and there, and I have even before the show today, you can see those on the Elgin Police Department Facebook page.
Yep.
So.
And then just on the next, this whole day will be just basically on our Facebook with the road closures, reminding of the event, the time, the location, things not to do. So you'll just kind of see a spam of that going on over the next couple days, just so that everyone has the information. So, Miriam, anyone that you want to say hello to, or any last thing?
No, just thank you. I don't do this by myself at all. So
Yeah.
it's always a team effort. So I'm grateful to be a part of it.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. It's a different aspect of law enforcement, but I've come to really love it. So.
Yeah, it's great. You do a great job. So, Mark, I will see you tomorrow. I'll pop
Okay.
into the radio show, and
Yeah.
I won't be in costume, though. You'll see me in this, all right? So
That's your costume.
that's my costume. Yes, there you go. All right, everyone have a safe evening, and if you're coming out tomorrow, please be safe. Let's everyone have a great night.
Chief Rob Sagan, you going to be in costume tomorrow night, too?
That's his costume.
I'm coming as a fireman.
That's
Yeah,
it.
there you go.
He pretends every day.
Thanks for coming in.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the Chiefs and Miriam Duffy in with us today, joining us to talk about Nightmare tomorrow. Let's not make it a nightmare. Coming up is the Senior Community Spotlight Show. Keep it right here on WRMN AM 1410, WRMN Radio on YouTube. We'll be starting a new YouTube feed here in just a couple of moments.
Located in the heart of Wisconsin Dells on beautiful Lake Delton, the Delton Oaks Resort offers a classic Wisconsin family vacation. It's an on-the-lake experience with available cabins, villas, and studio condos, all with home-style comforts and amenities. And extra space for family gatherings, reunions, and small groups. With a private sandy beach and dock, you can splash around, swim, and boat to your heart's content. There's a pontoon boat, kayak rentals, fire pit and barbecue grills are available for use for registered guests. Book your stay and enjoy all the ultimate Dells experience. With bonus passes to Noah's Ark Water Park. From s'mores to oars, Delton Oaks Resort has something for everyone. Visit DeltonOaksResort.com. That's DeltonOaksResort.com.